I want to throw this one in there because it goes right along with it. Are we the generation, you and I, that shall not pass away? And going to that's the verse where Jesus says, those who see this, there's a question on what that is and who the generation is. But in this question, is this going to happen in our lifetime? And if so, why? What is it that these people are seeing that dictates that generation?
Right. No, we're not the generation. The generation that saw Israel restored as a nation is the generation.
Which makes it even closer.
Right. That's talking about people who were alive in 1948. That's the generation. And so, yeah, we're way more close than that. And let me just give you a little bit of backup for this. In Matthew chapter 24, Jesus is going through and he's answering some questions from the disciples. And the first question that he answers is, what are going to be the signs of your coming? And so, and this is in Matthew 24. There are three questions that are asked. The questions are, tell us, when will these things be? He doesn't actually answer that in Matthew 24. He actually answers that in Luke 21. And Luke 21 and Matthew 24 are parallel passages. In Luke 21, you have the destruction of the city of Jerusalem, and Jesus had just said that not one stone on the Temple Mount is going to be left on another, and that it was all going to be destroyed. So when will these things be? You go and read in Luke 21, you get the answer to that. And then he says, what will be the sign of your coming? And that's the next section. And all the way down to verse 31, Jesus is giving a series of signs that precede the second coming of Jesus. But then they ask a third question. I don't even know if they knew that they were asking a third question, but they ask, what's going to be the sign of the end of the age? And what Jesus does is he goes through and he talks about the signs leading up to the second coming. He describes the second coming. Then he stops the narrative, puts a little parable in there, and then he gives the sign of the end of the age, and that's when two are in the field, one's taken, the other's left. Two will be grinding at a mill, one's taken and the other's left. He talked about the same situation in Luke 17, totally different sermon, totally different context. He said two people will be in one bed, and one will be taken and the other left, and uses these illustrations of Noah, and in Luke 17, he uses Lot also. But you got this parable of the fig tree here. And he says, now learn this parable from the fig tree. When its branch has already become tender and puts forth leaves, you know that summer is near. So you also, when you see all these things, know that it is near at the doors. Assuredly, I say to you, this generation will by no means pass away till all these things take place. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will by no means pass away. And so there's a question as to what the generation is talking about. So first off, you got the whole fig tree thing. You guys, one of the things that people don't really connect with this is the fact that Jesus cursed a fig tree the day before. So these guys are asking the question the day after they saw Jesus curse a fig tree. And so that's over in Matthew chapter 21. It's after he's gone into the temple. He's coming back the next day. He sees a fig tree. It has no fruit on it. And so he curses it. Well, why? Because he's mad? Because he's ticked off? He's having a bad morning? What's the deal with that? And the issue there is that when you have fig trees, this is the way fig trees work, the fruit grows before the leaves. So I used to have a fig tree, and you'd go out in the early spring and you'd see the buds of the fruit. You'd literally see figs on the fig tree before the leaves even came out. And so by the time that the leaves were full grown and that kind of stuff, there should be fruit on the fig tree. And this was a fruitless fig tree. And part of the reason that he cursed it is because he's going back into the temple and he's going to be dealing with the Jewish nation, which looks like it should have fruit on it, but it has none. It's a symbol of the nation of Israel. And you have a number of passages throughout Scripture, Hosea 4:10, Joel chapter 1, verse 7, Ezekiel also talks about trees in connection with nations. But specifically, Israel being the fig tree is familiar to the Jews and the Jews of this time. And so the fig tree would be the nation of Israel. And so in this passage, the nation that sees the branch becoming tender and it's putting forth leaves, you know that summer is near. So when you see all these things, know that it's near at the doors. And that would be a reference to the nation of Israel returning. And I believe that that's exactly what Jesus is talking about. He can't be talking about the generation that lived at the time because they all died and none of this stuff happened. He cannot be talking about the nation of Israel itself, that the people of Israel are going to continue, because that's not how the term generation is used. And so on the one hand, he's talking about the fig tree being Israel, and that is going to blossom again, and it has within the last 100 years or so. 1948 is when it becomes a nation again, and if that's the case, then it's the generation that sees the budding of the fig tree, the nation of Israel, that's going to be there when these events are going to all take place. And so, like I said, I was born in 1958 or 56. Or wait. I was born in 1959. My wife was born in 58. I don't know who was born in 56. 6 is upside down 9. Yeah. I don't know what I was doing there. But I was born in 1959. And so it's 11 years after Israel became a nation is when I was born. And so obviously it would be within the generation of when I was born. And so I'm looking for people who were born in 1948 to still be alive when these events take place. And Jesus goes on and again describes the fact that that day and hour no one knows, not even the angels of heaven. And so he gives a kind of a rounded off type of period of time. So generation, I believe the generation that saw the rebirth of the nation of Israel is the terminal generation.
That means we're getting really close.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's pretty wild. Okay, so
we're talking about people that are almost 90.
Right.
In 2038, these people will be 90 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a time to be messing around.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so a lot going on there in Matthew 24 and those other passages. One of the things that helped me is to realize, do a careful reading of it, because I like how Chuck Missler teaches on it, that these are non-signs, when you're talking about wars and rumors of wars, but the end is not yet. A lot of people will put that into the end times. And then the understanding that Jesus coming for the church is a different coming than the second coming in Book of Revelation time, where we're going to make war and the church is with him and all that stuff. So you got to put those pieces together to make sense of those passages.
Right.
And then what you already alluded to and read, the one that's talking about the rapture part from a different perspective, and Luke talking about something different. Right.
When you're looking at the illustrations that are used here, when he talks about the days of Noah, he's talking about unexpected events. And so they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving marriage until the day that Noah entered the ark. And so they did not expect the flood. When you're talking about the second coming, you're not talking about an unexpected event. Nobody is in a situation where they're not expectant of the second coming. When you go through the book of Revelation, the demons know Jesus is coming. The nations know that Jesus is coming. Obviously, believers know that Jesus is coming. There's nobody who doesn't know that he's coming.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, the demons are collecting the armies of the earth to go to Israel to resist the second coming of Jesus. So there's all these events that lead up to the second coming that are going to be, it's going to be evident that that's what's taken place. The other thing that you have is by the time that you get to the end of the tribulation period, all of the cities are knocked down, all of the mountains are knocked down, all of the islands are destroyed. You have half the population of the earth dead, and you're not going to have a situation where people are having weddings and feasts.
Yeah, it's not business as usual.
Yeah, it's not going to be business as usual. And every description that you have of the coming of Jesus for the church, it's completely unexpected. Completely unexpected unless you're expectant. It's not something that you can see because of specifically the signs of the times. And so you have that. When Matt and I are sitting here talking about the signs that are leading up to the tribulation period, and so you talk about a cashless society, digital cash type of thing, and you talk about a one world government, and you talk about the mark of the beast, and one world religion, and these kinds of things. Those are all signs that precede the second coming of Jesus. And so I stole this from Chuck Missler, but you can tell that you're close to Thanksgiving when the Christmas decorations come out. Actually, you can tell that you're close to Halloween now.
Yeah.
When the Christmas decoration. Actually, you can tell that you're close to Labor Day when the Christmas decorations come out. And so what we're seeing are signs that are evidence of Christmas, and so you know Thanksgiving is near. And we're seeing signs that are evidence of the second coming, and so you know that the rapture of the church is near.
Yeah.
That's the way this works.
Absolutely.